Okay, we'll go ahead to Emma Woods, please. Good morning, Emma and colleague.
Sarah.
Sarah.
Good morning. Thank you for the opportunity to speak to my submission. My name is Emma and I've been a resident in the Linwood-Bromley area for 19 years. This is Sarah, who you heard speak last week. She also lives on Thomas Street and has been instrumental in connecting residents, which is great, creating a great sense of community on our street. I was pleased to see that many of the smaller residential streets in our area have been included in the 30-kilometre limit, and that the 50-kilometre limit has been extended on Linwood Avenue to Hay Street, about 200 metres further east from where it currently ends near Eastgate. Traffic on Linwood Avenue can be very busy, creating severance in our community. On one side, there is a school, the park, a swimming pool, a church, community centre, the Linwood Resource Centre, and community gardens. On the other, there's the mall with a library, health centre, grocery store, and other shops. Many residents need to cross Linwood Ave to access these or to get to the bus stops on the other side, but it's difficult to cross, and the controlled crossings are about 1 kilometre apart. You often see people, including children and older people, trying to duck across when there's breaks in the traffic. I wonder, was there consideration to extend the 50k limit down to Hargood or even Digby? I've read that children can be seen as a type of indicator species, their presence a sign of a healthy habitat. Think about where you live. Do you see children walking or playing independently of adults? When children can move and play independently, it sends a message that the neighborhood is safe. Children are connectors in a neighborhood and that they benefit from these connections. I've recently been involved in the Wachitahi Play Streets, where residential streets are temporarily closed so children can play and residents can connect. At one of these events, I overheard an older woman say, "I didn't realize so many children lived in this neighborhood." It stood out for me. Why are so many of our streets empty of children, and what does that say about our communities? And as an aside to the previous Emma, I've recently done a dissertation on play streets, and it connects in with a lot of the antisocial behavior that she spoke about. So if you're out there listening somewhere, I'm happy to send that to you. Most of us know that the main deterrent for parents letting their children walk to school or play out is fear. Predominantly a fear of traffic, but also a fear of strangers. The two fears are connected. Without experience or connection in a neighborhood, everybody is a stranger. We know from decades of research that the volume and speed of traffic impacts connections between residents and influences whether people will use active transport or allow their children to play out. And with housing intensification, many children are growing up without backyards, so being able to play out safely in public spaces is vitally important. 13 years ago, I was walking home down Linwood Ave with my 2 young boys when a young driver lost control of his car, mounted the footpath, and hit the 3 of us. My eldest son was badly injured, and my youngest was killed. The speed limit where we were hit was 60 kilometers, and it was determined that the driver was not speeding. If you're hit by a car doing 50, you have an 80% chance of being killed. At 30 kilometers, it drops to 10%. If we want people to feel safe walking or using active transport, then we need survivable speeds in areas where there are likely to be lots of different road users. Is it unrealistic to think that cars and pedestrians can safely share a space? Many of us do this already daily. Car parks usually have a limit of 10 kilometers, and pedestrians walk where they need to, with most drivers monitoring their behavior, sticking to the limit, and driving carefully. We have a shared understanding of what is needed in that environment and have established a culture for using that space. Most people follow the norms without thinking about it and without the need for enforcement. I've heard the argument that people aren't following speed limits now, so why will they follow them if they're dropped? But this is a separate issue. We don't make changes only when we can be sure that 100% of the people agree or will follow them. For those with the worst driving behaviors, there are options. The Right Track program has recently returned to Christchurch. This is a highly effective program for recidivist driving offenders. From my understanding, it has the highest non-reoffending rate of any program in the world. It works not by teaching driving skills, but by sharing knowledge, developing understanding, and creating a sense of connection and empathy for others. You're welcome to attend graduation later this month or any session if you like. Just get in touch for details. Thank you for the work you're doing. I don't envy your role, but it is important. I like the saying, you build the city for what you want, not what you have. I hope you continue to communicate the reasons for these changes and share that they go beyond one council's recommendation or one government's whim, that this is part of a global movement that is needed as we work to reduce carbon emissions, establish active transport norms, and create communities which are connected, resilient, and safe for all ages.
Thank you, Emma. Thank you very much for coming in, and I like your referral to the global movement. This is not just about our city, it's about a global movement. And you, if anyone, has the highest and strongest mandate to come in here and talk to us, so thank you for doing that. Appreciate it. Right.